Hello, this is Chris Brett from Eurogamer, joined by Wesley and Poole.
Hello, Chris.
This is the closest to Digital Foundry I'm ever going to get, my friend. So, I recently reviewed Total War Warhammer for Eurogamer. I think it's very, very good. You can find the review on the site. But, like, one of the questions that came out, after seeing the first reviews was, how does the game handle performance? The series has had some issues with it before, and so I'm going to show you basically a few battles, 3 battles in fact, and kind of give you an idea of how my machine handles it. Now, I just put the specs on the screen there, and
You got a fancy PC, haven't you, Chris?
no, well, that's the thing. Actually, not really. This is mid-tier, I think.
Okay.
I think that might even be a bit generous. So,
Okay.
yeah, that wasn't me showing off. That was me saying, this is a fairly average machine,
Right.
and here's how I handle it. So this first battle, I'm playing the dwarves here, is 2 large armies against each other. 1 large dwarf army, and then controlled by me, and 1 large vampire council army controlled by the computer. So, like, this is, in the campaign, if you run into this kind of, this will be considered a fairly large encounter.
Right.
Like 2, fully stacked armies going against each other.
Right.
And you can see the FPS in the top left there.
Right.
It's sort of sticking around 30 FPS.
Yeah, it's dipping slightly below every now and
Sometimes
again.
dips under, and it you can see as we kind of look around the battlefield here, certain parts of the battlefield, depending on how many units are on screen, basically, it kind of dips under here and there. But it's relatively consistent. I found in this first battle, and this is playing on ultra settings, so everything is at its very highest.
Right.
And yeah, this is why I didn't make a huge issue out of it in the review itself, because generally I didn't find that I had too many complaints with it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's got a lot of units on screen, but because you zoom back a little, it kind of makes that a little easier. Now this one here, this is the real test.
Right.
This is the biggest custom battle you can make. 2 large armies versus 2 large armies. It's basically the same thing we just did, same map, different time of day, but double the amount of stuff going on.
Right, and this is ultra settings again.
And look what happens, right? It's actually okay to begin with, but the moment you hold down spacebar, which is to show where all the units are moving and how far the ranged units can shoot, turns out that tanks the FPS.
Right.
But outside of that, right now it's above 30. I'm just getting into the encounter. It's around 30, just dipping under. But this battle I do have some issues with once the kind of the main force arrives.
Okay, so in previous Total War games, performance has been an issue, right?
Yeah, so specifically with the launch of Rome 2, the optimization was really off. This is a modified version of that engine, and they've been working on it, a year post Rome 2. They did a lot of patches and tried to win back some of the trust of the community there. Then Attila launched and ran pretty well, and to be honest, this is about on par from my experience. Now, there's that one part of the battlefield there it really doesn't like.
Yeah, it didn't like that, did it?
Dipped under 20, and then
it's dipping here as well.
Yeah, that's me because I'm pressing down space to see all the actions. That's the only time I've managed to make it actually properly die.
Right.
But other than that, if you just let the battle play out normally, it kind of sits around 20 FPS, which
Right.
isn't great, but that's the biggest battle you can ever do, and I've never run into one that big in the campaign.
Right, and you're playing on ultra settings
Yes,
with a
so
medium PC.
I thought a fair test here is because I have no right to be playing on Ultra, all right, with the PC that I've got, not with that kind of battle. So same battle exactly, 2 large armies versus 2 large armies, but this time I put it down to medium settings. You can see right now I'm actually we're sky high, mate. Look at this.
Look at that.
We're above 50 FPS.
You're almost at fighting game.
To begin with, anyway.
Wow, no.
And then it sort of settles into around 30 again.
But that's perfectly playable for this game, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And you rarely have battles this large unless you're setting up custom battles, and this might be important actually if you're interested in the multiplayer, because a lot of people like doing these really large scale things because it's a lot of fun. You can get a bunch of players involved.
But what we're saying here is the game is optimised in a satisfactory way.
Yes, I'm.
And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Because our previous games in the series have not been.
Yeah, and I obviously and quite rightly, players want to see that before they drop any money.
It's a big deal.
And yeah, so I just wanted to kind of make that point that my experience was pretty good. Playing on Ultra on the biggest battlefield possible was a bit of a stretch for my machine. Might have been a better idea to tone that down, but yeah, mostly it's pretty good.
Nice one.
All right, thanks, Wes.
Cheers.
So yeah, the point I'm making is this. What's to say that the Battle of Blackfire Pass demo is actually a fair representation of how the game plays out? Unfortunately, there's no real way to answer that unless we were to recreate the same setup on a current build of the game and then play it independently. So, that's what we've done. A couple of quick caveats. My setup on the right hand side is a custom battle using roughly the same units as the original. It's not exact, but all of the special units are there and roughly the same amount of infantry.